Welcome to the K2Watch with Dr. Hasan Miraj and Aamer Baig. Today's topic is Two Nation Theory by Mohammad Ali Jinnah, founder of Pakistan. Qaid Azam Mohammad Ali Jinnah said, Pakistan is going to be a laboratory for Islamic values. I would like to ask Dr. Miraj, what is the two nation theory that become the base of foundation of the Pakistan in 1947?
Thank you, Dr. Amir. Uh, a very interesting topic, and there are sometimes disagreements on that. But let me try to explain this philosophy, which has been misunderstood and many a times misinterpreted, and also intentionally given a wrong meaning. So, Qaid Azam Mohammad Ali Jinnah, who is the founder of Pakistan and was the leader of Pakistan Muslim League, who fought the freedom movement for Pakistan from the Britishers, he was very much well aware of the history and the political circumstances in the undivided Indian subcontinent under British rule. But the most important thing was that he was such a visionary that he knew that what is going to happen after the Britishers leave. Now, he could visualize very much how Muslims and Hindus will be engaging with each others once the Britishers leave. He was a student of history in the sense that he knew and he understood and he visualized the future. So he was convinced and he presented this two nation theory, which means that Hindus and Muslims are two different nations. And since they are two different nations, they need two different places where they can live. Now, we are not going to discuss here the dictionary meaning of nation. We are going to discuss the meaning that is in context with the political situation and environment that was prevailing when in 1947 Britishers left. And we are also going to discuss the difference between a nation and a country. So basically, there are two theories. There's a two nation theory and there's a two country theory. Now, the nations are defined by the Islamic culture, by the Islamic philosophy as people who follow the same religion. All Muslims are one nation. The countries could be different. Countries are different places. The nation is a philosophy. The country is a geography. So listen again, nation is a philosophy, country is a geography. And we are not again going into the dictionary meanings. We are going into the meanings which were the realistic meanings in those days from 1940 to 1947, which brought this theory. So he presented that the Muslims and Hindus are two different nations and they practice different religions. And not only practice different religions, but they are very different from each other. Although they have lived together for thousands of years, but still they are different. And on the basis of that, they have to live in different places. Now, that was not only the reason why he fought the freedom of struggle for a separate homeland as Pakistan. He knew that once the Britishers leave, under a democratic system, Hindus will be a grand majority and Muslims will be a minority. And in that circumstances, the Hindu majority is not ever going to give Muslims an equal right or equal citizenship. Muslims will always be a second-rate citizens. And that was not acceptable. that was acceptable. And this was based on his observation and his experience and his understanding and his vision about what has been going on in the subcontinent for years, and most lately in the last, before 1947, last several decades. He has seen how Hindus have hated Muslims, how they have hated Mughals, how they have hated other rulers, how there have been riots in which the Hindus really have killed Muslims. So now the nation, again coming back to the words which are very important, the nation, Muslim nation is a one nation. So a Muslim living in America, a Muslim living in India remains Muslim, doesn't changes. A Sikh living in Canada or Sikh living in India remains a Sikh. So the country doesn't matter. There are Muslims spread over so many countries. That does not means that they are no more Muslims. And the nationality is attached to their belief system, and therefore they are one nation wherever they are. So that is the basis of two-nation theory. It's not a two-country theory. It's a two-nation theory. And in those circumstances, Hindus and India and Muslims were two nations. Now, so this was briefly the two-nation theory based on which a struggle was made, and this was recognized by the Britishers. This was recognized by all people around, and it was accepted, and that's why Pakistan was created.
Right. At that time, nobody was accepting each other. You know, the Hindu was not accepting Muslims. The Muslim was not accepting each other. There was killing, mass killing. Why some people disagree with this two-nation theory? We call it two-Qaumi Nazariya in Urdu.
Yeah. Yes, many people tend to disagree with this do Qaumi Nazariya, which is in Urdu means do means two, Qaumi means national, and Nazariya means philosophy or theory. The biggest reason was that if they accept two-nation theory, then of course Pakistan would never be created. So if they agree on two-nation theory, how would the Pakistan will be created? And that was the biggest reason. The other reason they say is that the nations are based on culture. Nations are based on how they dress up, how they live together. But if you very critically look at the Islam and Hinduism, there's a big difference. And we are among the Abrahamic religions. They are not. We are, a very, very crude example would be we eat the meat of cows and they worship cows. So how could we be the same? As humans, we should take care of each other. We do take care of each other. Islam preaches taking care of minorities. But the basic philosophy, the basic belief system is totally different. So the biggest reason was that people did not wanted the division of subcontinent India, and especially the Hindu community did not want it. And the reason was that the Muslim rulers have ruled the whole Indian subcontinent for about 1,000 years. And then came the Britishers, another 100 years. And then when the Britishers were leaving, this was the deep desire of the Hindu majority to rule the whole Indian subcontinent. They thought it was their turn to rule. But fortunately, Qaid Azam Mohammad Ali Jinnah and his colleagues understood that the future of Muslims living in a combined Hindu majority India is full of plight, full of disappointment, will be full of disappointment. Now, so they did not want it to lose this turn, but did not happen, and Pakistan was created. And today even they call it Akhand Bharat, the dream of Akhand Bharat, the combined India, Pakistan, Bangladesh as one unit. They still dream for it. So these were the reasons why Pakistan was created, why the Hindu majority was against it, and today's circumstances, when we look at the plight of Muslims in India, we can understand how big was the vision of Qaid Azam. Look at what's happening to the minorities in India: Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, and the biggest being Muslims. So the foresightedness and farsightedness of Qaid Azam was that the Hindus are not going to spare Muslims in this country.
Dr. Miraj, you mentioned that Hindu and Muslims lived in Indo-Pak subcontinent more than 1,000 years. So what happened in just 100 years that Muslims were unable to live with each other with Hindus, and Hindus were unable to live with with Muslims?
So, although Hindus and Muslims are very different, but they were accepting each other and they were living together, and there were problems, but not to the extent that we see now. We have heard the name of RSS and its collaborators. This is a Hindutva philosophy in which Hindus are the dominant race, and this is not within India. They believe Hindus are a dominant race globally throughout the world. This is same as Nazism with Hitler, who believed that they were the dominant race and the rest of them should be second-rate citizens. So the RSS came into being with this philosophy of Hindutva, and it slowly progressed. It secretly grew, and finally they were able to create the hatred into a big issue. And when, with the advent of Modi regime, which is a part of RSS, who is a member, lifelong member of RSS, he brought this type of change in the minds of a majority of Hindus, in which now, as we see, the Muslims of India are in a big trouble, are in such a state that they are worried about their life, their honor, their property, and we know every day there are incidences of lynching, killing, and all kinds of problems for the Muslims of India. And it's not only Muslims. The minorities like Christians, their churches are being burned. In Manipur, what is happening? The Hindus, they do not believe that the Christians in Manipur should be equal to them. So this is how, with the growth of RSS over years, secretly and now obviously, and with the installment of Modi regime, who is a lifelong believer and member of RSS, the things have changed in India. There's no more secular democracy. This is now has changed into a Hindutva state which practices the belief of dominance of Hindus over all others, and not within India, throughout the world, globally. So we should be aware of this danger.
Transformation of Bangladesh put shadows on this theory?
No, absolutely not. Because again, we are confusing between two-nation theory and two-country theory. If Bangladesh is created, another country is created, but the nation is not divided. We're still Muslims, one nation. So, Muslims are in Indonesia, they are in Arab countries, they are in Europe. That does not mean the change of country is change of nation. The nation remains the same. It is just like that two brothers living in one house just start living separately in different houses because the circumstances have changed. But the brotherhood does not change. The two brothers remains the same, except that they are now living in two different houses. So the formation of Bangladesh does not nullifies at all the two-nation theory. It is the two-country theory which is being propagated and intentionally put into situation where people do not understand what is happening. If you see the vision of Qaid Azam Mohammad Ali Jinnah, he, he could understand the importance and significance of a state. Pakistan as a state is very vital. It has the strength to survive. It has the strength to pose its importance globally. A minority, whatever size it may be, a minority remains minority. And the outside world does not really care about minorities. It leaves it as an internal affair of the government. Look at India. India has a sizable Muslim minority, 20 to 25% to 30%. And the way they are treating Muslims, and nobody outside the world cares what is happening to the minority, because they are concerned about the state. They have relations with the state, and they care about what the state does to them. Qaid Azam knew that the establishment of a state, Muslim state, will prevent this to happen. Now, there is another question. People say that if Pakistan would not have been created, Muslim minority would have been bigger. So what? Democracy, even if you win by one vote, is democracy. If you win by one vote, you are the winner. But so even if Muslims of India and Pakistan come together, they do not overwhelm, they do not change the majority of the Hindus. And that may have given some benefit to Muslims, but again, the Hindu majority still would have been overwhelming, and they would have treated the Muslims more or less the same way. A minority is a minority, a majority is a majority, doesn't matter at all. So that question of staying together and a bigger minority really does not have weight until unless you have a state which the outside world cares about. So I think so. Bangladesh creation, now there are 2 members of UNO instead of 1. When Pakistan was together, there was 1 UNO member, 1 OIC member. Now there are 2 Muslim UNO and OIC members. So the benefits you can see, and the nationhood of Islamic Brotherhood does not changes.
We were discussing in our previous program about the situation in Canada, where Khalistan movement leader Hardeep Singh Nijjar was assassinated by Indian diplomats. So what is the updates on this?
So yeah, it's still a very fierceful discussion on the international forums, and it has not settled. The anger of the Indian side is obvious, and they are angry because they are exposed. And they have done it in Canada, so they cannot be hidden. They have to be heard. When they have done in Pakistan, Nepal, Sri Lanka, nobody listened. But now it is different. So the American side has again stressed on India to cooperate, and there have been many protests, and many things happen in Canada in which the Sikh community, the Khalistan Sikh community, has protested and has asked for justice to prevail. The Indian media is even threatening Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, which is so bad in diplomatic terms, in ethical and moral terms. They're openly threatening Canadians and Justin Trudeau for his allegation, very credible allegations against the Indian diplomats who have been found involved in this assassination. So this is ongoing, and the best way would be to accept what is wrong by the Indian side, to investigate and to stop doing this.
Thank you. What is the current situation of minorities in India?
That is a very relevant question, because India, interestingly, is not only provoking other countries by its behaviors which involve terrorism, cross-border terrorism, overseas terrorism to Canada. 2 days back, there was a big blast in the Balochistan province of Pakistan, and the government of Pakistan is blaming for those blasts in which 55 precious lives have been lost the Indian Raw Intelligence Agency, the Indian spy agency, which is called RAW, Research and Analysis Wing. So the Pakistani government is very much blaming for that blast which cost 55 lives. So so this is the terrorism exported out of the borders. But what's happening inside India is again a big question. Unfortunately and very painfully, India is fast drifting from a good secular democracy into a very fundamentalist Hindutva state. So I will give you some examples about human rights violations and what is happening in the Indian society at this time. And briefly, I will give you a few incidences that are happening on a daily basis. One Muslim man is tied to the pole, beaten to death with sticks and belts by Hindu mob in Delhi. Another Hindu extremist mob lynches Muslim youth in Delhi. Hindu mob forces Muslim men to parade carrying butchered cattle meat. So these are few incidences which have happened in the last 24 hours. Then a Muslim teenager was attacked with knife by Hindu mob in Hyderabad. Hindu extremist leader threatens to take over 400,000 mosques. So this is happening every day. Some of it comes to the surface, some is gone down. The Indian media is very biased. They are controlled by the Modi regime and they are not giving the real presentation. So the human rights conditions are very bad in India, in Kashmir, in all over the states, against minorities, against Muslims, against Christians, and now we see against Sikhs.
Thank you, Dr. Hasan Miraj. Keep watching K2Watch, subscribe our channel, and we will bring another interesting topic in our next episode. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Aamer. Thank you so much.